friends, it's Gwen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm here to do a very important book review, at least for me, and I really think you should check out this book. That's why I think it's so important, and that book is Obsessed, a Memoir of My Life with OCD by Allison Britz. I received this for free from the publisher. I told them that I was going to review it, and they just kindly sent me a copy. So thank you, Simon & Schuster, Simon Pulse. I recently had read Under the Rose-Tainted Sky, and I was kind of like in that mental illness, like own voices book mood. So I was kind of like researching like some, and I came across this one, and when I read the synopsis, I was just like immediately like drawn to it. The cover was beautiful. It sounded really great. It's a memoir, its own voices. Like I was just all about it. So it's basically about Allison's life when she has this dream that she has terminal brain cancer. When she wakes up, she hears something on her alarm that like further instills that yes, she has brain cancer, and so she goes to school, and then she starts these ritualistic, repetitive things in the hopes that if she does all of these things right, the cancer will go away. And it just kind of chronicles a few months in her life as she begins these rituals, and then she finally reaches out for help, and then she starts going to therapy and stuff like that. So I absolutely recommend this book to you because it is an own voices memoir. And the reason it's so weird to say like it's an own voices memoir, but this, even though it says it's a memoir, it does not read like one. It's not like this dry, study of someone's life or, something like that. It really does read like a work of fiction. Obviously, if reading about OCD or those persistent, unwanted thoughts would bother you in any way, I would steer clear of this because it goes very into detail about the thoughts that were going through her head when she would hear messages. Basically, she was thinking from like a monster to tell her that's cancerous, stay away from that, don't touch that, don't look at that. And it just kind of rabbit holed. It was just one thing after another. It started with the cracks in the sidewalk, and then it was she had to avoid certain objects, and then she had to count her steps, and then she had to stand on one leg, and then as she progressed in her sophomore year of high school, she took driving lessons, and her driver's ed teacher was a very religious man. So then she thought the messages were from God, which made it even more, instilled in her like, I have to do this. I can't, obviously she didn't want cancer, but she didn't want to upset God. And then she started reading the Bible religiously. But all the while, like, she's falling apart as a person because she's avoiding so many things that help her. When I thought of OCD before reading this book, I thought of people washing their hands, however many times, opening and closing doors. I mean, I've seen documentaries, I have read books before. A lot of them are like germaphobes, and you think like that. This book was like the complete opposite. Because of the things that the OCD gave her messages that like she couldn't use a towel to dry off, and she couldn't wear a jacket, and all of her clothes became, cancerous, and so she was like digging for clothes, like she couldn't find clothes, she couldn't brush her teeth, she couldn't brush her hair, like her life just kind of started falling apart, and it hurt my heart because the friends that she had, before she was like on the cross country team, and she was doing really well in school. And then she started like not doing well in school because she couldn't complete assignments because calculators were cancerous, and notebook paper, she would only get a certain amount of notebook paper. She couldn't use her computer anymore, so she couldn't type up her assignments. She was turning in basically crap for homework and crap for assignments. She wasn't doing her homework. She was failing tests, and none of her teachers, none of them thought to say anything, and that hurt. As a teacher myself, that completely broke my heart. Not only that, but one time the teacher in here, obviously she started losing weight because she couldn't eat because she was She couldn't eat because she used food as a barter, so if food restriction bothers you, I would probably stay away from this one as well, because that's a very prevalent theme. But she stopped eating at school, she stopped eating at home, and she started losing a lot of weight, and then she's only able to wear like certain clothes, and it's like the same outfit like every single day. But her teacher is actually like, do you even eat? And I was heartbroken, because as a teacher, it's our job not only to teach kids, but to watch out for them. And I kind of feel like a second parent, to the children that I teach. And I could never imagine saying that to one of my students, not as a person or as a teacher. Then her friends, she did do, like, it was her part that, like, her friends started going away from her, because there was one specific friend that kept trying to ask her, like, something's up, let's talk, but Allison just kept pushing everybody away. Her parents, she pushed them away too. Her father got steamrolled by the mother. The mother kept saying, like, leave her alone, and the father was like, no, like, something's up. But in the end, Allison would tell her parents, like, butt out, I've got control of this, leave me alone. And they did. And it just broke my heart, because she was losing weight, she was losing friends, she was failing out of school, and her whole life was like in shambles, and no one was there. Deep down inside of her, somewhere, the before Allison was like screaming for her. And she reached out for help. She called her mom, even though she's not allowed to use phones, because they were cancerous. She reached out and called her mom. And even when she called her mom and said, Mom, I need help. And the mom did call the doctor and like schedule an appointment. But she didn't like rush home. I would have rushed home. Like if I was ignoring my daughter for so long, and I was even seeing the signs that something was wrong, if my daughter finally reached out to me, I would immediately have rushed home. I guess she couldn't in that situation. But she ended up, seeking help. Her mother, like, set her some appointments and stuff like that. I can't speak about the kind of therapy she endured, because I've never gone through it myself. But this is her account of, her story, her memoir. So Allison did ERP, which is exposure response prevention, because she didn't want to take any medicine. So I'm really glad that even though the first doctor, she went to her PCP and then got referred to another doctor. And even though that doctor recognized that she had OCD, and then Allison herself started recognizing that she had OCD, they wanted to prescribe medicine, and Allison didn't want to take any medicine. So she was referred to another doctor, and that other doctor is the one that introduced her into this ERP program. Slowly but surely, she started, being able to do things that she wasn't previously able to do. I'm sure it was a very slow and tedious process. OCD isn't one of those things that you take a magic pill and it's all better, or you do this one thing and it's all better. It's a lifelong struggle. I guess my whole takeaway from this is that OCD is not one thing. It's many different things. There's many different spectrums of OCD, as there are with all mental illnesses. And this just really broadened the definition for me. I hope that people are able to read this and be a little bit more sympathetic and have their eyes and ears open to things that are happening to their friends or to their students or just anybody around them. We're all humans. We're all in this together. Like, let's help each other. I will say that the majority of this book is kind of her descent into the OCD. And then towards the end, it kind of gets into the therapy and stuff like that. I highly recommend this book. I rated it 5 stars. It's going to stick with me for a long time, because it's not like an Own Voices fictional account. Like, this is actually Allison's account of what happened to her when she was 15 years old. And it's so touching and moving. Some people have said it is repetitive, but it's OCD. It is a little bit repetitive. But I loved it, and I will treasure this book forever. This book releases in September, on September 19th. I'm filming this a little bit early, a couple months early, because I just want to have it like when my thoughts are fresh in my mind. But I do plan on getting a finished copy because I want to support the author and the publisher and all of that. But definitely consider picking this up if you're looking for Own Voices mental illness stories, or just like a really good mental illness, you know, story in general, because like I said, it doesn't really read like a dry memoir. But that's all for today's review. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope I've answered everything. It wasn't like a typical normal book review. I absolutely loved this story. Thank you to Allison for writing it. Thank you for Simon Pulse for publishing it. And thank you to Simon & Schuster for sending me this copy. I just couldn't be more thankful. This is probably going to be one of my favorite books of the year for sure. But that's all for today. Thank you for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you again in my next video. Bye!